Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. I hope you guys watched The Other Way episode 5. We got a lot to talk about. It was not as interesting as last night with Jasmine's golden shower story, but we're still going to talk about it. Hi, Steph. Hi. Hi. Dinky, Do Girl. Hi. Everyone's here. Jeez. Hi, everybody. Kara's here. Hey, Kara.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Portuguese Princess is in the building. Hello.
Hi, Portuguese Princess.
We are just waiting on Dee Dee to join us. So, this episode, we saw, I don't want to jump ahead, but we saw Jelly and Puddin' kind of try to explode that relationship from the inside, right? Like, they were kind of being devil's advocate, because then afterward, hello, Florista. And then afterward, they're like, oh, well, we fully support you. And I'm like, stop lying.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't supporting nobody. You don't want them to be together. I can't wait to talk about that. But we're not going to start there. We're going to start. Oh, Dee Dee's here. Dee Dee, come on in here.
Get in here, Dee Dee. I can hear her right now. She's going, I'm trying, y'all.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are y'all doing?
I'm good. I'm ready to get into this episode. Like, I have a lot to talk about, especially with Kimberly. But I want to start out with Danielle and Johan, because I feel like that's always fun, right? It's always fun to just dig into these two, because they're always doing something to piss me off. And like this episode, right, Danielle is like, oh, well, we've been trying to have a kid, a baby, naturally. So I don't know. Everybody doesn't know, or does everyone know that she has a 22-year-old son? I think everyone knew that, right?
Yeah.
Dee Dee, did you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we knew that she has a son. He's actually a comedian. He's a traveling comedian. He does really well, and he actually tells really funny jokes about his mom and Johan. So if you guys ever catch him on the road, you know, go and see him. He includes some 90 Day Fiance in his act. He's always talking about his mom's relationship, whatever. But how do we feel about Danielle ready to have a baby at, what is she, 42 or 43? I can't remember. I don't age anymore.
I don't care how old anybody is. If you can have a baby, do it. But I also don't think you should have a baby after, like, 3 weeks ago, you were just talking shit about how much he abused you. So I don't think it's the right time.
See, yeah, I feel the same way. And I feel like her friends were really on point. They were like, you're talking about having a child, your relationship is kind of shaky, and you don't have a lot of money. Because we were talking about, they were kind of jumping into Johan. They're like, he's had 2 jobs and now he doesn't have any. Like, let's not just throw stones at one side here, because we know a little bit about Danielle's financial situation as well. And I'm trying to figure out where a baby fits into that financial situation, because Johan's not going to work. You know, like, let's just be honest. He doesn't feel like he has to. He found a sugar mama, and I respect his hustle. Yeah. He doesn't really have to. He found the sugar mama. That's not his thing. He tried with the butcher shop. It didn't work. And that's the effort that he's going to put in. I feel like he feels like I paid my dues. I was going to move to America, you know, and I was going to make a living there. She took that away from me. So now it's her responsibility to make this relationship work. So where does a baby fit in? And then she's talking about using eggs. So is that what they call IVF? Is that what that's called?
I don't know. I mean, I know about in vitro, but I didn't realize. I thought that was your own eggs. That was
it's your own eggs.
So when she said using,
about, like, surrogacy,
right? Okay, so we're not talking about in vitro. We're talking about surrogacy. So they would use her egg and put it into
someone else's eggs. Because remember, the doctor says she doesn't have any. She is very low. So if they wanted to have a child, they would have to use someone else's eggs.
Yeah.
Oh, so, but wait, she would carry the baby then?
I don't
know.
How
that works?
I think she could carry the baby if all of her other stuff was working properly, but they'll probably have to do a donor egg and a surrogate.
Isn't that really expensive though?
Yeah.
Like, I've heard that doing that process can cost you upwards of $50,000, right? Yeah.
It's a lot of
I don't know what
money.
And where is this money coming from? Because we know in her financial situation, there's not a lot of money flowing. So that was my question. I was like, hello, Danielle. Welcome. I didn't know you were here. So Danielle said that egg donor and surrogacy is not the same. So how are they different? Because I'm interested in knowing. So were you planning on carrying the baby yourself I'm confused, and I'm just trying to understand the situation.
It's fine.
So maybe we'll get a little explanation from Danielle.
It's fine. She's a yoga instructor. She can afford it.
Yes, Zoom yoga instruction. So I would love to hear exactly what the process was, because we don't know if they had the. I actually heard something completely different at the end of this season. She says I would carry the child with donor eggs. Oh, so she would carry the child, and then they would, I guess, implant the eggs into her. Okay, so now we fully understand the process. So how do we feel about Danielle and Johan starting a family? Because obviously, when you have these relationships with a relationship age gap, there's always one person is going to want to have a child because they want to experience that part of life. We had this with Kim and Usman, right? Like, we had the same situation. The person in the younger end of the spectrum is going to want to have that, and Danielle already, has a son. She's experienced that, so there's always that compromise. Oh, and we're dealing with this as well with Kenny and Armando. Armando is ready, at an age where he's ready to have another child. He thinks he does. I'm going to say that he thinks he's ready until he actually has to do it. And then how do we feel about it? Because is it like one person compromising and giving the other person a child even though they might not want to do it? Because that's how I kind of feel. Like, when you have a child that's already in their 20s, do you really want to do that? Or are you just doing it because your mate wants that and that's their dream? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because remember when Kimberly said, she's like, well, you could have a second wife so you could have a child. I'll do that for you, but I don't like it. Yeah. So it makes me think of that situation. Like, do you think Danielle really wants to have another child, or this is something that she wants to give Johan because it's what he really wants?
I think it's something she's saying she'll do, but knows it's not reality.
Yeah, I think the same way.
But I have to say, I love her friends. Her friends were awesome.
Yeah, her friends were very logical. I think having logical friends are very invaluable. People who tell you exactly how they feel and how you sound. Because sometimes when you say something out loud, you don't realize how crazy it sounds. So that's what your friends are for. They're like, okay, this is how you sound. This is what is coming out of your mouth. We see that this is insanity, and we would like to help you see that this is insanity. So I think that her friends were very logical. They're like, we just want to make sure that she fully grasps what's going on, because once you bring a child into the world, they're here forever. Yeah. You can't go back on that decision, because even marriages, you can go back on a decision to get married. You can just get divorced. Like, you can go back and renege on certain decisions, but having a baby is one of those things that you are stuck with. And then even if that marriage ends, you're still connected to that person, the other person, the father, the mother. Y'all are connected forever. And I just wonder if she's ready for that commitment. Because like you said, we've seen this relationship basically fall apart. When they came back for this season, everybody was surprised they were even still together, right?
Yeah. But that comment right there is spot on. She said, excuse me, she said she has the energy now to have a baby, but doesn't know she will in 2 years. So if she doesn't have the energy in 2 years to have a baby, does she think it's 18 in 2 years?
Right. Like, the energy.
A two-year-old has way too much energy. Yeah. Way too much energy. So yeah, I mean, if she don't think that she's gonna have the energy in 2 years, then why even bother?
No. But that's the thing. I think she wants to appease her husband. She wants to give him something that he's asking for, because he wanted to come to the US and now he's not able to do that. So I feel like she wants to offer him something that he really wants. And I think that a human being is not a gift to your spouse. It's a gift from God, but it's not something that you should use.
He's doing the same thing. She is doing the same thing that Kenny's doing. I will tell you, I'm going to tell you that we'll have a baby, because I was going to shut you up for now. But we'll revisit it later.
It's no for now. This child is forever. Human beings are forever. For the rest of your life, you created that life. It is there for as many years that it's on this earth. And I just feel like their relationship is not stable enough to bring other people in. Like, I don't feel like it's stable enough for them to be in it together alone. But like, bringing another person in, I just don't know. I feel like they have so much that they need to work on and they don't see eye to eye on. Yeah. Like, and I feel like they don't talk about their problems. Danielle just kind of says what they are and demands things, and Johan is just like, I'm not doing that. And that's not, it's not healthy.
The comment that she made, I hope I don't have to raise my husband at the same time I'm raising my child. Like, who wants to be married to somebody like that? I mean, I get that having a husband is like having another child, but not to that extreme. She's feeling like she's got to teach him everything. She has to have control over everything. So you throw a baby in the mix, he wants to parent it his way. Her way is going to be vastly different. That's a whole nother fight. That's something that they haven't even, I mean, maybe they have discussed it, but nothing that we've seen.
Yeah.
But my question is, why, if you are in an unstable marriage, you two can't even get along, why would you want to bring an innocent baby into the mix?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the baby is the one that's going to pay for it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That just does not make any sense.
So, okay, so let's switch gears a bit. I want to talk about Julio and Kirsten, because Julio has actually landed that he thinks that Kirsten really does need to come to the U.S. for a couple months, which was never his intention, was never what he said. He was the one who said he was ready to leave the U.S., and I think now, realizing that he's leaving behind, it's funny because he listed the things that he was leaving behind, and food was number one and family was number two, which caught me as odd. I was like, well, shouldn't your family be number one and New York City pizza be number two? But not in his case. He's like, I'm leaving behind my food, I'm leaving behind my family, I don't know if I'm ready. And I'm thinking, how exactly is that Kirsten's fault? That you're realizing now what you're going to be sacrificing. Because I'm going to go into the sacrificing situation with Kimberly too later on, because they're taking this, oh, I'm sacrificing this for you, but you're not, because no one is forcing you to go anywhere. Kirsten didn't say, I need you to leave your mom and leave your life and come and live with me forever. She never brought that up. You offered it.
Yeah.
You met her, you liked her, you fell in love with her, and then you brought it up and offered it to her and gave her the idea that this was the plan. And I hate the way people are reneging on their plans. Like, they're like, well, this is what we talked about, and now that I get here and I meet your family, they decided that they didn't like our plan, so now you're changing your plan without any consultation from me. Like, you didn't talk to me, we didn't have this conversation, now all of a sudden I need to come live here for 2 months. And you know what that means. When she comes to New Jersey for 2 months, that just means he's going to try to convince her to stay. That's all that means. That is not so she could get to know his family. That is not so she could see how he lives, because she's doing that right now, and it's not that great. Like, honestly, it's not that great. She's not, like, getting along with his family. They're not bonding. She's not, like, learning that New Jersey is a place that she wants to live. Like, it's not going great. So he's trying to get her there, and then once she's there, he'll convince her to stay there so he doesn't have to leave. That's what's going on.
Who would want to stay in a home where you can't even cook in your own kitchen without getting shot?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that is very questionable for me, because...
And her family's, and his family isn't even making her feel welcome.
Yeah.
Well, no, they're treating her like she's the enemy, which I think, hey, JJ, which I think is insane, because he's the only bad guy in this situation. Right? I feel like he's the one that has manipulated Kirsten. He's manipulated his mom. He's told his family only what he wants his family to know. And then as the truth comes out, the very first bus to drive by, he's chugging Kirsten in front of that bus. He's like, oh, you guys didn't like that I didn't tell you? Kirsten wants me to move there. Like, he's like throwing her under the bus at every opportunity. And I'm like, you're the one that created this plan. You didn't tell your mom. You purposely didn't tell your family. Now you brought her here to use her as your scapegoat. She's like his shield. He's literally walking into the firing squad, and he's using Kirsten as his shield. And I don't like it. It's like, man up, grow a pair, and take responsibility. All of the women in your life and your family are pissed off because you decided they weren't important enough to be honest with them. That is exactly what it is. They weren't important enough to be honest, and now that shit's hitting the fan, he's looking for every opportunity to blame his behavior on someone else. That's all it is.
I liked them at first. I thought they were going to be the strongest of the season, the most normal, if you will. But I'm so disappointed in him. He's just completely turned from who he was the first episode. Like, I hate how he treats her. I hate how he treats everybody, but especially her.
Well, yeah. He doesn't know what he wants. And it's interesting that he's scared to leave the US because he introduced himself to us as a world traveler. He's been all over the world. He's stayed
Yeah.
many different countries for long periods of time. So leaving his mom, let's remember he stayed in the Netherlands for 2 months already. So that's 2 whole months that he left his mom. So he's making it seem like right, like he's making it seem like it would be so hard to leave my mom. You've left her many times because you've told us that you've been to all these different countries. I don't remember how many, but it was like over 100, right? Yeah. I think he said he's been all over the world. He's left his mom that many times, months at a time. Yeah. So he's just having cold feet, second thoughts, right? I feel like that's how he is. He's like, I've always traveled, but I've always come back. The idea that he's thinking I wouldn't come back. How does that work with citizenship, though? If he's gone for like a certain amount of time, he still has his American citizenship, right? Or how does that work?
I don't know how that works.
Because it doesn't expire, right?
I don't know.
Not if they're a permanent resident.
Yeah, so
but if they're not a permanent resident, they can't be out of the States no longer than, I think it's 6 months.
But
okay, so yeah, if it didn't work out, he could come back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't understand why he's acting like this is a forever thing. It's never going to be a forever thing if it doesn't work out. And then he's like, I want to move over there and maybe live separately. And that makes me think he wants to move like a single guy.
Yeah.
You know, like if you live separately, but you have a girlfriend, that means that you want to do things that you don't want her to know about. Right? Yeah. I mean, what is a reason why you would be in a committed relationship, but don't want them to know what you're doing other than you're doing something you shouldn't be doing?
But also, you pointing that out, remember he said, my mom immigrated over here as a small child and brought me with her afterwards. He says, and I hate America. I don't want to live here. And now here we are 4 or 5 episodes later, and he's like, I can't leave America. This is my home. He's so full of shit.
Right? That's exactly what I tweeted tonight. I was like, it's just all...
How he's acting with living separate in the Netherlands. It sounds like to me he just wants a booty call.
Yeah.
He wants to do what he wants to do and then just get a booty call.
Yep.
I mean...
That's pretty easy to do. You don't have to move to the Netherlands to do that.
Yeah.
Just be honest. I had said this yesterday. There's apps for booty calls, guys. Mm-hmm. Just put yourself on the app, put out that you're hoeing, and wait for the people to swipe. You know, like you do not have to leave the country to hoe. Yep. Hoeing is right in your backyard. You do not have to lead anybody on. You don't have to apply for citizenship anywhere. You can be a hoe right in your backyard. There is somebody waiting to hoe with you.
And you
do not have to lead people on.
You can even tag your picture with as seen on TV.
Yes, yeah, that would make hoeing even easier, right? That would make it even easier. They'll be like, oh, I could be hoeing with this guy from TV. You know, like not just anybody, right? That's a good photo op for anybody. That's an Instagram post.
Yep.
I'm thinking too that maybe because since he brought Kirsten over here, that maybe he would try to be, or not try, but he was going to be able to persuade her into moving over here.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he's already applied for his citizenship in the Netherlands.
Right.
Yep.
It's too late. He's changing his mind and then somehow projecting his mind changing onto her.
Yeah.
Like it's her responsibility to fix this. Yeah. And it's like, you told this woman you were moving there. You told her you hated America. He told us that too. He was like, I don't even like it here. This is not my home country. I've been all over the world. This is not where I want to spend my life. Then all of a sudden he changes his mind and he's like, well, Kirsten, figure this out for me because I don't want to do it anymore. You need to fix this. How does she need to fix this? This is your issue.
She needs to kick him to the curb.
Yeah, she needs to hop back on the plane and go back and call it a day. She doesn't have to come here and do any trial run. And she said that America scares her because she said in her country, they don't have guns. So they don't have shootings. They don't have crime. She said they don't even lock their doors because it's a whole different world over there. They don't use cars. They ride bikes. You know, in America, you ride your bike and you get too close to the street, somebody will hit you. Like, America is a whole different ballpark, right? Like, this is a whole zoo compared to what she's accustomed to. So why should she have to leave that because he all of a sudden changed his mind and he wants to stay, not just stay, but stay in a house where a bullet went through the kitchen.
Yeah,
not just stay anywhere, but he's like, oh, you should see if you like it here. She automatically doesn't like it. Trust me, she automatically doesn't like it.
Yep. I don't know.
That's crazy.
Run. She needs to run. Like her feet are on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, get out while you still have the chance. This relationship is not going anywhere. He's in a relationship with anybody who has an opinion because he doesn't have one.
Yeah.
His family, his mom, anybody who is an influences Julia,
Yes.
right? Like, he's just so easily influenced. He doesn't know what he wants. He tells her one thing. He tells his mom another thing. His friend said, oh, you should live together. Now they don't want to live together.
Yeah.
Like, he's just a walking influence. Like, everybody is just telling him what he should do, and he's just doing whatever he says that he should do. She needs to be with somebody who's going to be able to take control and say, look, this is what I want to do. I'm going to do this. Speaking of, that's kind of what Armando told his mom tonight. He was like, look, I actually left where we were living together on the same property because I didn't feel supported. We found out tonight that he felt so unsupported in the year that he left and the year that he lost Hannah's mom in that tragedy that he considered taking his own life. That is how deep in depression and unsupported that he felt. And I really like that he was able to tell his mom that, because it made me realize, I was like, parents have to stop being so selfish and thinking about their own feelings and what they want and actually listen to their children. Because he literally had to sit there to the point of tears to get the point across to his mom why he was doing the things that he was doing. And all he really wanted was her support. That's it. He literally didn't want anything else, just for him to have the idea that she approved of what he was doing. And she wouldn't really do it until she saw him cry and really heard the story of what he went through. And the fact that he was there with his family, because he talks about his family so highly, and those feelings of being unsupported were so strong, it really shows that Kenny was his support system.
Yep.
And I'm really happy that he found Kenny. He found that family, people who are there for him, who are going to make him feel accepted and loved, because he wasn't even getting that from his own family. And it's not that I don't think that his family doesn't love him. Don't get me wrong. I just think that they didn't realize how tough it was, the things that he was going through. First of all, coming out in Mexico, not easy. Okay?
Yeah.
Not easy at all. They don't accept things over there the way that we accept things over here.
Right.
So he was going through that. He also had to go through losing his wife at the time, Hannah's mother. That was a tragedy as well, because it was a horrible accident. It wasn't something anyone planned or could see happening. And then he had to deal with coming out to his family, which is even more difficult. I feel like coming out to your family could be more difficult than just living your truth out in public.
Yeah.
Family, their opinion actually matters. Like, how they feel about you matters even more than just a stranger saying something rude to you as you walk by, or rude online. That doesn't hurt you as much as when you feel like your own family doesn't support you. So I just really was happy for him to get the blessing from his mom. She didn't like it, but she said, to hear how you felt and the idea that you thought I wasn't supporting you enough, that you would take your life, I want you to do what's best for you and Hannah and Kenny. And she has given them the blessing, but I didn't really know if that was necessary, because Armando still isn't really sure about actually moving. I felt like it was a premature blessing. Like, I think you should be more, prone to doing that before you get everybody involved. Kind of like telling everybody you're going to do something before you actually book the trip.
Yeah.
Like, you should book the trip and then tell everybody. Don't just get everybody into it. But I'm happy that he has the blessing. So now it's just up to him. Now he can make the decision without that extra added pressure and stress of wondering if his mom is going to hate him for doing it,
He broke my heart completely when he was talking about it. That hurt my soul. But I was so, in the beginning, I was like, his mom is crying before he even finishes the first sentence. She's going to turn her around and make it about her again.
Yep.
But I was so pleasantly surprised with her. I mean, her apology seemed very genuine to me. Very genuine. And that's something that should have happened a long freaking time ago. The only thing that I want to see now is I want to see his dad do the same thing, because he's kind of always not really had his mom's approval, but his mom accepted it, but wouldn't tell the dad. I want to see the dad come out and tell him, I'm sorry, I should have listened, give him the love, give him the support, because that was horribly sad.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, we seen how his dad treated him before him and Kenny even got married, whenever Kenny went over there. I mean, his whole family was like, they didn't want to accept the fact that he was gay. And his dad, I mean, how was his dad treating him? His dad was treating him so wrong, and his mom wasn't even on board with it neither. Yeah. And, his sister was barely on board with it. So his dad, in my opinion, his dad should have flew out there with his mom and sit down and have a civilized conversation,
Yeah.
because we need to love our children no matter what, no
Yeah.
matter what. You know what I'm saying? Whether
100%.
they're straight, gay, whatever, we need to love them regardless.
Yep.
And as long as they're happy, we need to be happy for them.
Yep.
But his dad isn't showing him the support that he needs. And
Yeah.
I don't even think he's ever showed him the support that he needs.
Has not at all.
No.
But the one thing that made me mad is the way it was so sweet, and it was like, this is such a revelation. This moment is so special. He got that off his chest. He talked about Hannah, and his face lit up, and he was so happy. And then his mom gives a sincere apology, and then he almost in the same breath says, well, I can't wait to go to a surrogacy clinic because that's the only reason I'm here. So it's like, here we are. Here's the storyline. This is what you plotted for. Just emotional stuff came out in between that you didn't plan on, which was good that he got that off of his chest. But the fact that he's not moving there. He's only there to see if they can have a baby. That's
Well,
it.
yeah, I was thinking that too. What if that's the only place where the clinic is? Because they do live in a pretty smaller part of town, like of the country. It's not a big city. What if that type of specialized clinic is only located there? So it's kind of a two birds with one stone situation. They're like, hey, well, we could say that we're checking out this city to see if we're going to move there, and also we'll hit up the clinic and see if we can get this situation. And yeah, I do feel like that because I don't think they're going to do both. Honestly, I don't. Honestly, I don't know if they're going to do either. Hey, Tracy, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But what they're using each other. Kenny is trying to use Hannah to persuade Armando, and Armando is trying to tell Kenny, well, if you give me a baby, then we'll move out here. It's like, they don't need to be doing that. That's not a happy medium.
They're bartering. Yeah, they're bartering in their marriage. Yeah, and I don't think bartering is, I don't even like compromising in marriages. Yeah. I feel like because people have a compromise off. Because they're like, well, remember when I did this and I left my family, or I didn't want to do this and we went to your in-laws. And then there's like a compromise competition. Yeah. I think that if you can't come to a mutual agreement in a relationship or a marriage, don't even do it. Because if you do compromise, it's always going to get thrown back in your face. Like, remember when I did this for you? You didn't want to do it, or you wanted to, I didn't want to do it. And I was like, I'm going to do this to make you happy. That's always going to be held over your head. It's like a little carrot. Yeah. They're like holding it over your head. So whenever you, for that time, you wanted to go to your in-laws for the weekend and I didn't want to, and I did that for you. And it's like, you always are going to have to repay that compromise. And it's like, I think that having a baby as a compromise in the relationship could end the relationship. Haven't you heard the term, you know how strong your relationship is based on having a baby? Babies can either make you stronger or end your relationship completely. Yeah. I believe that 100%. Yeah. I think it's so true. It's either going to make you bonded together and you're going to be together forever, or it's going to make you hate each other and you're going to end it. Yeah. And I know babies don't do it specifically. The baby doesn't do anything to make you feel that way. It just tests how much you can count on the other person. I want to word that differently. It tests how much that you can get help and count on the person you're with. The baby's a blessing. The baby doesn't do anything terrible or wrong, but it's so much work and money and time and dedication. And if you don't have that strong foundation, that baby is going to make that very transparent in that relationship. And it's like Kenny and Armando haven't really been through a lot of rough times, right? Yeah. It's been pretty good. Like, their marriage was great. Kenny's family loves Armando. No issues whatsoever. There was a little rockiness on Armando's side of the family, but they all showed up to the wedding. Everyone is supportive. I don't know if they are built to go through a rough patch because they've never been through one. So that would kind of worry me a little bit. Like, are they equipped to deal with going through something difficult? Because it's been pretty smooth sailing since they started.
But also, a thing that bothers me is, how does Hannah feel about this, first of all? Does Hannah even want a sibling? And second of all, Kenny's 60 years old. I mean, I'm older than I was when I had kids, and I cannot imagine having a kid at my age. grandkids, great, I'll send them home. But I cannot imagine trying to do the whole baby thing at my age. Do the diapers, do the daycare, do all that, the car seat,
No.
up all night. I just can't. So I can't imagine doing it at 60 years old.
Kenny never said he wanted to help. Like, did you notice that Kenny never said that he was going to be very present in that? He said if they did it, it was going to be for Armando. And that's why I was like, putting it all on one person is going to cause a lot of strain in your marriage, because coupled with chaos, no sleep or little sleep and stress causes a lot of tension between people, right? Like, so it's like, Kenny's like, well, I would do it, but only for you. Don't do it because Armando's not going to be able to handle that. And like you said, does Hannah want a sister? Because I feel like being an only child, I didn't say sister or brother, being an only child, you know, for this long, I don't know how much she would want that. Like, when you have like a younger sibling and you're growing up together, you're going to school together, you're doing things together, that's different. You bond early in life. So you don't see them as someone competing for your time, you know, because you started out together. There wasn't really a time you can remember where they weren't there. Yeah. But like at her age, does she want to share her time? Yeah. At this point, like, that would be my biggest question, because she's had all of her mom attention when she had her mom, all of her dad's attention her whole life. And Kenny gives her a lot of attention. He's a good dad. Obviously, he's a good grandfather too. So is she ready to share the spotlight? You know, and I don't know. We don't know her. From what we see, she seems like a great girl, but is she ready to give that? And then she would be helping a lot too. Yeah. Right? That's going to be...
Armando wants it to be Kenny's sperm. So it's going to be Kenny's child. I mean, it's going to be both of their child, but it's going to be Kenny's child. How does Kenny's kids and grandkids feel about Kenny having a child younger than his grandkids? I mean, there's so many aspects that are just, it just seems so off.
I would love to hear his family, his children's side of it. Like, how do they feel? Because I know they touched on it briefly on, what was it, Happily Ever After? You know, they were not super excited about it, because I remember his daughter was like a child right now. Like, because her biggest issue was, she's like, I just had a child that you don't see regularly because you're in another country. So she's like, that kind of makes me feel a certain type of way. Yeah. Because she's like, you have a grandbaby who loves you so much, who doesn't get to see you regularly, and then you're going to see this child every day. And it made her feel some type of way. And she wasn't saying she was jealous. It just, you know, it just made her feel like, I wish that you were still here. You know, like, you made this decision and you left, and then it kind of looks like you're starting a new life and it doesn't involve us. Yeah. You know, that's also a different aspect of it, because his children, obviously they had him, you know, growing up and everything, but now that they're having children, it is very important that your parents are involved in your children's lives, because you want them to have that same bond that you had with your parents. And it's very important to see your grandparents and do things with your grandparents as much as possible, because unfortunately grandparents are not going to be here forever. Yeah. So it's so important that they have that bond.
Absolutely.
I definitely remember that day whenever they were talking about it. They were like, heck no. Yeah. Like, are you crazy? Yeah. I mean, and then, like, if Kenny uses, you know, his sperm, that would be Kenny's biological child. Yeah. So if anything were to ever happen to him and Armando, Kenny would be 100% responsible for that child that he really didn't want in the first place.
Yep.
I like that comment. Kenny doesn't get a vote. I agree, right? It doesn't really matter what Kenny wants at this point. It's all about what Armando wants. He doesn't get a vote. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's crazy. You gotta, to bring a child into the picture, it has to be a mutual agreement, because at the end of the day, the child is the one that's going to pay for it if it doesn't go as planned. And from what I'm seeing out of these two couples with Danielle and Johan and Kenny and Armando, there's like they're using the child to get what they want. And that is a very wrong reason to have a child.
Yeah. It's got to be a mutual decision that you both want, because even if, like you said, if you break up, that child is still going to be between the two of you, sharing those times, sharing locations, sharing holidays, like sharing everything. So yeah, I feel like in order for this to work, they need to either both want this or not.
Yeah.
You can't, because I mean, having a child because it's a compromise, it's never gonna work because you're gonna have like what's the word, animosity or
Yeah.
resentment towards
That's
the person that you made.
That's
Yeah.
how it works with a puppy. Like, okay, you're responsible for that stupid dog because you had to have it. I don't want nothing to do with it. Then you just walk away. This is a human being. This is a child. So if one commits, they both have to commit. And that's that.
Yep. The child isn't gonna know who wanted the child and who didn't. And I hope the child should never know that, first of all.
Yeah.
The child just knows you're both my parents and you both should be love me equally and want me here equally. That's all the child should know. So I want to talk about TJ and Kimberly, right? Because I feel like at this point, they're like the most toxic couple. I thought it was Brandon and Mary, but I don't know. Like at this point, I think it might be Kimberly and TJ because Kimberly is just kind of like a loose cannon, right? Like she was kind of shocked that TJ's family knew that they were arguing after she yelled at the top of her lungs for like 45 minutes in their house. She was like, I'm really kind of like taken back that his family knew about our argument. I was like, they're not deaf, Kimberly.
Right.
Like they kind of knew that you were arguing and screaming and saying how much you hated everything about everything that he did for you. Like they can hear fine. You're just loud. And you gave him like the whole first 24 hours that she was there. She literally fought with him for the entire 24 hours. And then she was like, I don't know why, his family doesn't like me. And I was like, oh, I don't know. It could be the fact that you criticize their home. You criticize everything that their son did to you. You're criticizing their culture. You don't want to deal with his mom's expectation. And then the fact that she had the nerve to ask, she's like, well, what is your mom's expectations of me? And I was like, oh, so you didn't watch any of the Jenny and Submit seasons, right? Like, so you didn't watch any of this before. Like, this is all new to you. You didn't watch Jen and Rishi. You didn't watch Jenny and Submit. Like, you're just new to this. You also don't have Google on your phone.
And
like, you just don't know anything.
She lived there for a year. She lived there for a year, so she knows. She's just, as his brother said, being stupid. And I clapped so hard. Yeah, she's stupid.
Yes.
I like the fact that he was just calling her out because he was like, you're showing stupidity because I'm explaining it to you. Because she was like, oh, so what if I decide to eat meat again? Because, they don't eat pork, right? Mm-hmm. I think they don't eat beef or pork because, first of all, cows are like royalty. You're not going to eat a cow, but also pork too. And he's like, if you do that, we would disown you. And she's like, see, I don't think I like that. And I was like, you're moving to India. You don't get to like and dislike parts of their culture. Not just moving there, but you're marrying into it. And they don't do like in America, you could marry someone who is Catholic and you could be atheist. We just let that slide. Yeah. Not in their culture. Like when you marry someone, you adopt every aspect of their culture. You're becoming as one in their culture. Because she's like, well, I don't like that. And I don't want to actually cook or clean or live with your family. I'm like, you don't get to pick and choose the parts of their culture that you like.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get to do that. And it's like, she didn't do any research. And she's like, well, I don't know if I'm going to want to do chores or clean. And I was like, well, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Why are you in India? Like, because she's like, I've compromised a lot. And I was like, so who put a gun and said, you have to move to India and marry TJ? Nobody. Even TJ said the day she got there, don't marry me. If this is such an issue for you. And she's always going to hold it over his head. She's like, I'm compromising a lot. I had to give up my family. I had to leave my country. You didn't have to do anything. The only thing you have to do in America is pay your taxes. You don't have to do anything. You decided to give those things up. And I guarantee you, if he thought that you were doing that just for him, he would have told you not to go. You did it because it was a mutual decision because you both loved each other. And I think this showed the other way. The Americans are very caught up on saying what they gave up.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a negative thing to do in a relationship. Because if you always feel like you have the upper hand because you did more, it's not a competition. And for Kimberly, it's just a competition. She's like, well, I don't want to adopt your culture because I gave up mine.
Yeah.
And I was like, but you didn't. You can move to another country and keep your culture. I know people who live in America that are so in touch with their home country's culture. They cook the foods, they practice the things, they go to the church, they practice everything about their home country's culture here. You do not have to give up anything. In her mind, she's giving something up. And if you don't want to give it up, get back on the plane, go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't even
Yeah,
have to
and why would you?
garlic. You can have that once a week.
Yeah.
You're
I mean, why would you even choose to be with a man from India when you know how strict their culture is? And she is on this garlic fix where she is like obsessed with garlic. Like,
What's up with that?
seriously?
What's up with the?
I don't know.
I like pasta because she said pasta, but like, what kind of food has garlic in it? First of all,
I mean, I cook with a ton of garlic, but if I couldn't have garlic, I would still survive just fine.
well,
Yeah.
I don't buy garlic. Like, I don't buy like cloves of garlic. Like, what is she? She's like, I want to cook with garlic all the time. I'm like, do people do that? Do people cook with garlic all the time? Like, I buy food that has garlic in it already, I guess, but I don't like buy garlic. Didn't she like eat like a raw piece of garlic in one of the episodes or something?
No, that you're thinking of Statler.
No. Yeah,
Oh,
that was Statler.
That's weird to me. Like, that's weird. I don't think I've ever done that. Like, but she's nitpicking everything about the culture, their culture, and saying that she doesn't like it. And it's like, if you don't want to be, I don't want to say one of them, but like, if you don't want to be a part of their culture and marry into their culture, you don't have to. There's still time to get out of it. You know, like, you're not married to anyone. Yeah. You can leave. And TJ's brother said it. He was like, if you don't want to be here, go. No one is holding you here against your will. If you don't like the way things are done here, please leave. And I was like, that is the best advice I've heard in a long time. Like, because people always seem like, well, I have to do this, and now you need to accommodate me because I'm doing it. No one has to accommodate you, Kimberly. No one has to make you feel better about your life decisions because you're the one that made the life decisions. No one has to make you feel better about your bad choices. Yeah,
it was literally a pissing match of who sacrificed more, who gave up more, who's doing more. That's all it was.
Exactly. Exactly. And wait till they get married. If TJ thinks that she has exploded now, wait till they get married because that's when he is planning to tell her what she is and is not going to do. Yeah. That's going to cause a whole new can of worms to open up. That is going to be a volcano.
Yep. Uh-oh, George is... Oh, there we go.
Oh, that phrase.
Yeah.
Sorry, somebody called me. I think it's because somebody called me.
I got you.
Okay, so I want to talk about Brandon and Mary because we found out that in the middle of the night, well, first of all, go back. Mary did not want to be intimate with Brandon, which we were talking about last week, and we found out that they were sleeping like opposites of each other. Mm-hmm. And then later today, we found out that she got up and slept in a different room. So I'm beginning to smell something fishy, right? Like, first of all, he funded this whole house that they're living in, $40,000 to $60,000. I don't remember the exact amount. And now he's like free labor for the farm, and she's not trying to touch him. So like, I have questions. Like, this is really starting to seem like some sort of like plan for like free labor, or I don't even know I don't know where it's going. Yeah. But the fact that she was like, I didn't like your feet to touch me, and I'm just like, now this is getting weird because you wouldn't let him off the phone with you for 2 seconds because you thought he might interact with a female. And now that he's in your house next to you, you can't stomach his appearance. So I'm like, I'm trying to understand what the scheme is. And then she's like feeding him before he could even swallow one bite. She's like, I want him to be chubby. What is that about? Like, I have so many questions. I'm so confused. What are your theories here? What is going on? Hey, Annie.
Hi, Annie.
Hi, Annie.
Yeah, I think it's because over the phone, you can't smell him. You can't fully see him all the way. I think that once he got there, she was kind of repulsed by him.
Really?
That's just what it looks like to me. Hi, Kimberly.
Hey, Kim. Hey, bestie.
Hi, Kim. How you doing? I think that, how can I say this in a nice way? I think that she's... Yo, I'm not being savage today. What's wrong with me?
I know, right?
I think they're using him to get exactly what they want out of him. I think she was doing all of that while he was in the States because she wanted him to feel like she really wanted to be with him. She really wanted that she really loves him.
Yeah.
Well, but then he gets over there and it's like she can't even stand the sight of him. And then she gets up and she goes into the other room. And then she doesn't want him to say or tell her grandfather that they kissed in the airport.
Yep.
So,
But
I
he was
mean,
acting about that whole thing when he's like, so we need to tell grandpa, we need to tell your grandpa or your no or whatever the hell he calls him that we kissed. We need to tell him. We need to tell him. We need to tell him. No, you don't. Shut your damn mouth.
Haven't you heard the term, what he doesn't know won't hurt him?
Yep.
Like, that was unnecessary information. Now, don't get me wrong. I am a honesty is the best policy person, but non-pertinent information can stay non-pertinent information. Yep. You're not lying. If telling someone something won't do anything positive or negative, just let it be. And he's like, oh, I just want to be honest.
I think he was doing it. He really wanted to do it to see if she was actually telling the truth about it being against their beliefs.
I agree.
Because I don't think that he believed her or her brother by them saying that.
I agree.
I mean, because every country's got their culture. And this is the first time that I recall on 90 Day Fiance that we've heard that even kissing is a sin. It's against the culture.
But
I mean,
also, one thing that got me is, okay, so he's going on and on. We have to tell him. We have to tell him. We have to tell him. But then he says, the grandpa's mad, and then he's in the same breath. No, I'm asking your permission. He's like, okay, I'll allow it if you marry her, but you have to marry her.
Well, no, he said now that you've kissed her, you have to marry her, as though her value is lower now. That bothered me too. Yeah. He was like, well, now that you've kissed her, you have to marry, you have to follow through, as though she's going to be less desirable to anyone because she's kissed someone.
How is it so easy to get permission? Like, they make it sound like it's such a big deal to get the permission to kiss. Yeah. And then he's like, can I have your permission? Sure, go ahead. Yeah. Just like,
yeah, for them to sleep in the same bed, they're like, okay, yeah, but don't have sex.
Yeah.
But she's had a boyfriend before.
Yeah.
And
all of her friends are male. Okay. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying anything is going on with any of her friends or whatever, but all of her friends are male, and she was lying about hanging out with her friends, all while he wasn't even allowed to sit next to a woman he had never met.
Not even his mom.
Right. Or he couldn't have male friends because male friends have sisters and mothers.
Yep.
So the fact that there's a scheme going on, okay? Like, I don't know what the scheme is. Something's going on. And the fact that she acts like she wants nothing to do with him. But she's so quick to send him out to work on the farm. Yep. Right? Like, I don't know. It's just, all of this is just, something is not adding up, right? Yep. I want it to make sense, but I'm not seeing how she loves him the way that he thinks that she loves him. I'm not seeing that representation.
Yep.
I think it's because she can control everything he does. She likes the fact that she can control him.
Okay.
And he's so needy and so wony because he's always been pushed to the side or thrown away that's the only way he knows to be treated. And she knows that she's not going to find somebody else as stupid as he is to let her control everything he does.
See, so, I think you nailed it because probably no man in her country is gonna let her control him the way that she controls David.
No way.
Or Brandon. It's not gonna happen. And you're right. It probably is a control thing. There's a lot of women out here who like to be fully in control. I mean, we've seen that in the 90-day universe. Angela, for instance, has to be fully in control in that relationship. There is no man in the relationship. It's all her. So it's very possible that she just wants to be able to do whatever she wants, but he has to obey and abide by her rules. That just might be what works for her.
And she's freaking sneaky, too. So pudding and Jello and all of her other food groups, throw her under the bus and say she unplugs her Wi-Fi, blah blah blah. Brandon's instantly pissed, so she turns on the waterworks, and then he apologized. He wipes her tears and apologized.
Yeah,
he did wrong. She
I
did.
was like,
what are you?
what are you apologizing for?
Why? That was my tweet earlier. I was like, you have to be a master manipulator to be caught in a lie. You're the person who was lying and doing something you weren't supposed to do, and somehow you were the one who gets an apology out of the person you lied to.
Yeah.
That takes like manipulation, like advanced placement college course, right? Like that was real. I was like, how are you crying?
Yeah.
I was like, you're the one who should be apologizing for what you did, and all of a sudden you're the victim.
Yeah.
I was like, how is this even possible? And the fact that he fell for it, he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, why are you sorry?
Yep.
She lied to you, and then instead of being honest with you, her friends did it shadily, trying to hurt you.
Yeah.
That's literally what they were doing. They were like, oh, well, we don't like you, and just so you know, she lies to you. Like, that was a shady way of doing it. And then right afterward had the audacity to be like, we want her to be happy, so we would support your relationship. And I was like, lies, lies, lies. You don't support it. You literally set a match and threw gasoline on it 5 seconds ago, and now you're like, well, we're happy for her because she's happy. If you got besties like that, you don't even need haters, right? You don't even need haters. If your friends treat you this way, you might as well just hire trolls to just follow you around and just try to destroy your life at every instant. Like, they are not her friends. And I don't even want to be like rude, but they are so selfish and mean. And they're like, Brandon is the bad guy. And I was like, how is it that he's the controlling one? Do they know the full story and they still think that he's the bad guy? Or is she lying to her friends too? That was the first thing that
she's lying to her friends too, because if you remember, she said that her friends did not like him because of him being controlling.
Yep.
Right. That's
so she's lied to her friends. Not even told them that she's the one that's actually controlling him. I mean, it's okay for her to go hang out with her friends because she knew her friends before she met him, but he couldn't go visit his mom. His mom gave birth to him.
Yeah.
He couldn't go visit his sister. He knew his sister before he knew her.
Yep.
Like, so it's okay for her to do it. That she is a controlling, what's the word I'm trying to look for? She is a conniving, controlling narcissist is what she is.
I agree.
The way that she makes the rules but doesn't have to abide by them, I think that's the definition of a narcissist, right? You make the rules, but you're exempt from the rules that you made. They're only apply to other people. And that's exactly who she is. And the fact that she manipulated him to the point where she got caught lying to him and still ended up getting the apology from him showed me that she is a master at what she does. Brandon is not the first victim in this scheme. He is down the list. Like, she has been doing this for a while. So the fact that she got this house out of him, that might not even be the biggest loot that she's gotten from this scheme. Like, she is so good, because I was so confused at the TV as of how she was crying and he's apologizing and he's trying to console her. I was like, you need to be mad because she's been lying to you. And you don't know what she's doing. You don't know that she's with these 3 guys. You don't know what she's doing.
Yep.
Literally at all, because we all know she's pregnant, right? We all know that, right?
Yep.
With whose baby? Because that was my next question when I saw that tonight. I was like, this might not even be his baby because she will not touch him. She's pregnant. Whose baby is it? Because in order to have a baby, you have to touch somebody. Yeah. And she is she won't even sleep in the same room. So I'm questioning what's really going on.
Yep. We'll find out when the baby comes out and they name it Yogurt. We'll know.
Yogurt or parfait.
Parfait.
I like the name parfait.
Yep, that's a pudding and jello.
Oh my gosh. This I don't know, but I know a man cannot hit a woman, but if I was Brandon, I would have not after her. I would have freaking beat her to a freaking pulp, because how she talks to him, how she treated him, how she treats him. and how she controlled everything that he did while he was in America. And then she says, and if you remember, he even said, well, yeah, now I'm realizing because there hasn't even been an outage since I've been here.
Not one. Not
So,
one.
I mean, you know what? Brandon need to have a girl there by his side so she could have beaten Mary to a pulp.
He needs to have his mom there. I hate to say it, but his mom would have destroyed her. Like his mom, the way that she was talking to him when she knew she was on FaceTime, she was letting her have it then. So if she could have been there to see what was going on, because I know that she wasn't always there, but I know that he needs somebody fighting in his corner, and I know that his mom would be that person. And I wish that he had someone there, because he's literally all alone in a foreign country. He can't even communicate with basically anyone but Mary. Everybody else doesn't even speak enough English to have a conversation. So he literally has to trust whatever she says to be gold, because he doesn't even know what's going on around him. I just wish that he had somebody to fight for him. And I know that in his mind, his mom let him down. So he doesn't trust her to do that. But I guarantee you, she would look out for him if she was there.
Why is he not using a translator app when he's talking to the grandpa? Why is he relying on her to say exactly what he's trying to say? I just use the freaking app.
I don't trust her.
She didn't even say exactly what he said a couple of times. She said something totally different.
She is definitely controlling the situation.
Yep.
And when you're dealing with somebody like that who is telling you one thing and doing another, you can't depend on them to. Wasn't Rishi doing that? Rishi was doing that when Jen was telling him, tell your family that you're going to marry me and this is how it's going to be. And he translated that to something completely different. You can't trust everybody. Sometimes you got to pull out your wallet and hire somebody to do that for you. But like you said, use the app, because you need to make sure that you're saying and they're hearing exactly what you need them to hear, because translation is very iffy. People will say what they are comfortable saying to the other person because they're protecting their own situation. Like Mary wants to protect her situation. We don't know what Mary's actual master plan end game is. We don't know if it involves Brandon staying there, Brandon leaving. We don't know what she's doing. So she's only gonna let on so much. Right? Like there's only so much information that she wants to get out, because if it's not part of her plan, it's not gonna help her.
And even if she is pregnant, and even if it is Brandon's, she probably got pregnant, so that baby is a ticket to her fortune.
What fortune though? Because Brandon doesn't work. Like, I'm so confused.
I'm thinking that she thinks that Brandon has more money than what he really does, because the money he was sending over there. And I'm thinking that Brandon's probably led her to think that he has more money than what he actually has. I mean, does you actually think that she knows that he only went over there with $250?
No way. I think you're spot on. I think you are spot on. I think that because he has sent $50,000 or $60,000, she thinks, I mean, and that's 3 times that much over there. So she's thinking that he is loaded.
I mean, sending that much money it would give you an idea of what that person can do. We still haven't figured out to this day how he got that much money. Like, we are still confused by that, but the house is there and it's standing. So I'm going to say he sent something, because they lost their home in a typhoon and now they're living in a house. So some money made it over there somehow. We don't know how, by what way, force of nature, that much money landed in his hand, but that does give you an idea that there's like a never-ending money pit. You know, when somebody sends you that much, when you live in a country where, you know, like $1,000 is a lot of money. If someone sends you $40,000, $50,000, you're looking at them like, oh, well, this is a never-ending ATM money pit. But she's gonna be very hurt when she finds out that the money, because when he said it took him 2 years to save the money to get the ticket just to go there, which is even more confusing, because during that 2 years he sent her so much money. Again, I wish I knew how he got this money. I really do. Because was it a loan? Did he take out a loan? Like, I have so many questions.
I do too.
Me too. I mean, because he wasn't able to hold a job because he had to be on the phone with Mary 24/7. He got fired from several jobs because of that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Couple
why
of
is he having to act like a stranger in his own home?
Asking permission for things in his own home. I know it's very odd to me. Like, if anything, they should be asking him permission for doing things. He's the guy who made all this possible.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's like he should be the king of the castle, right?
I've said this before, but do we actually know that her grandparents knows that he's the one that built the home, or is it that Mary is telling that she built it with her modeling and other things that she had going on before?
I mean, it very well could be, but how are the grandparents so easily giving permission? They're like freaking pimping her out.
Well, yeah, the permission was there, but he was like, yeah, but you gotta marry her.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, as long as you follow through, we're good. It's like they think that.
Bed, even sharing the bed. He said, can I share the bed? The grandma's like, sure, just don't make love. Like
you can share the bed, but you can't kiss?
Yeah.
Like,
it's so confusing, and I'm trying to understand what the end game is, because she has to know that the money is gonna stop because he's there. Like, even if he was making money in America, he's not in America anymore.
Yeah.
So the money is gonna stop. You have to know when he gets there, he can't work.
Yeah.
Like, and even if he did, he would make.
Yeah, but we don't know what all he said. Maybe he said that his aunt's going to send money over there, or his mom's going to send money over there, or he has money saved in a saving account and they're just going to deposit so much. We don't know what Brandon said. Brandon has said something to this girl to make her think that he's got money.
Yep.
I'm telling you, the way she's acting, she thinks he's got money.
Yeah.
Well, we saw where he was living in that RV in his government. We know that is not the case. So eventually the truth is going to come out. And again, he sent her money somehow, and maybe he gave her the wrong idea. And maybe she thinks that, you know, marrying him, having a baby by him, that's like a guaranteed ticket. Because she's never actually said she wanted to come to America, right? She's never ever said that.
Right there. That's the answer. It was 2 years ago. It might have been COVID money. I bet you anything he was getting that fat unemployment where he's getting like $900 a week or whatever it was. I bet you that's where freaking money came from.
Oh, I get it.
Thompson. Yep.
Yeah, because they were adding like extra $500 and $600 to the regular payments or something. Yeah. I remember that, because it was like whatever you were supposed to get, they added like $600 to it every week.
That's right.
Because of COVID.
I didn't even.
That would equal, and if you were on that for like 6, 7, 8 months, that might, because if you're getting $1,000 a week, this is very possible, right? Like, this is very possible.
I didn't think of that at all, but that makes.
Who knows?
Yeah,
but,
I think that might be, and that would be a bad way to gauge his income, because that is way over.
Yep.
You know, they are not doing that anymore. You got to get to work now. Like, nobody's getting help from nobody now. So that's a bad gauge to think that cash flow is still around, because that's long gone. Like, the America has moved past that. Nobody's getting any handouts anymore. Like, they're wanting everybody to go and work 3 jobs at this point. Like, they are not doing that.
Yep.
Someone said that's Portuguese Princess says that's only $4,000 a month, and in 6 months is only $24K. So that still would be.
Yeah, but that unemployment went on. They had extension after extension after extension. It lasted for like 2 years.
And then he was doing odd jobs. And then his aunt did say that he had a really good office job in the beginning, making really good money. But because of Mary, he got fired because there was secretaries in the office.
Yep.
Women. Oh, yeah. I did hear that. Yeah. So he lost his good job because she didn't want him interacting with the women there, which I can't with her. Like, she's like, oh, well, he can't have guy friends because he might flirt with their moms.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, where does she get her information? Like, I just want to know what's going on with this house and this situation. And So when he stays there, it's like his job gonna be like working on the farm, because how is that gonna generate any additional income? I know that's how they get their food, but like, how are they gonna generate additional income? That was my question, because from what I saw, nobody on that farm had a job, right?
Yeah.
So how are they gonna, other than food, how are they gonna generate money?
Maybe sell what they grow on the farm, maybe?
Oh,
Yeah, I don't.
oh, so not just making growing food for themselves, but like having like a store and sell it. Okay, I see. Okay, okay.
I don't.
Possibly.
But also,
I don't know.
who the hell doesn't know what a freaking tricycle is?
Isn't that what they use
Oh,
like
yeah,
in India?
he said that he didn't know what a tricycle was. I was like, huh? Right?
Well, no, isn't that what they use in India? It looks like a bike, but it's
Yeah.
like it has 2 seats on the back. Yeah, yeah. I don't know how he didn't know that. Well, I mean, he said that this was his first time ever leaving the country. So I guess maybe,
A tricycle.
But there's tricycles in the United States.
yeah, downtown. You're right. For $20 they'll take you all over downtown. You're right. Maybe he doesn't get out much.
Apparently not.
Maybe he doesn't get out much. Well, for the last 2 years, he wasn't allowed to go pretty much anywhere if there was a living female present.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to happen. So
Yep.
Apparently, any male, too,
Well, yeah.
because I mean, he couldn't even talk to a man. He wasn't even allowed to talk to his aunt and his uncle.
I can't. All meanwhile, she's out unplugging her router, talking to whoever she wants, staying out all night. Like, it's crazy, because I want to know who this baby's for.
Yeah.
Because that's just my biggest question at this point, and I keep going back to that, because it's like she doesn't want to be around him. So it's like the idea, and she had to get pregnant fast, because I know that they filmed these like months back, but she would have had to gotten pregnant right around the time they were filming, right? Or maybe she was already pregnant.
Yeah.
I'm my mind is all over the place, because I'm like, was she pregnant when he got there? Did she get pregnant right after he got there? But I'm doubtful, because she won't even sleep in the same bed with him. And I know how that works. I paid a little bit of attention to. I know that
Something's going on. Yeah, because something's going on. She will not even look him in the eyes. And then whenever they were on the bed, like sitting on the bed talking, she was like all fidgety, like playing with her hands and looking down, like she didn't want to look at him, like she's hiding something, or like she's scared, or we all know that girl ain't no virgin.
Yep.
So she can stop that BS. I mean, come on now. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's the card she's playing. Well, I'm a virgin. I'm not ready, or whatever.
also
I can't.
we're a full year back, because it said filmed in August. The calendar in this trailer, you're right. I did notice that. It was an August calendar. So we're a full year back. So he got there around August, September.
So the baby has been born already.
Yeah, it would have to be born.
I cannot wait to see the baby. If it
I
doesn't
just-
look a little white,
Just a little, right? Just a little. It has to look a little.
just a little.
I don't know, Cara. I don't know, because my babies, they're mixed with Hispanic, and they have no white in them. They are dark. You would
But
to look at my babies, to look at my kids, you would not think they were mixed. So
but you look at her and pudding and Jello, I think you'll be able to pick up the features if there's none of Brandon's features.
I still say, Cara, and remember me and you were talking about this the other day. I still say that she was with that dude in the purple shirt.
Yeah.
I think she was with him.
Wait.
100%.
Because
Which one
why is it that he was like nitpicking and trying to start a fight?
Wait,
What's
Paul-
his name? Pong?
Paul, right?
No, not Paul. Which one is it? What's his name? Puddin? No,
There's
wait a minute.
Pudding, Jello, and Pong.
Oh, Paul,
No.
not Paul. Okay.
No, it wasn't
Pong.
Pong. It's the
So you think
the real dark chubby one. That one. I didn't
he's
catch
the
their
one?
name.
He's the one that said that she unplugged the router,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. His motive for doing that, for kind
I
of
still
blowing
say
up the
that
whole
they-
situation.
I still say they had something going on.
Yeah. I do too.
A couple of Chaos said that they investigate film dates in their podcast. I'm gonna have to check that out, because the timelines are like the most confusing things for me. So I need to check that out. Oh wait, what does it say? That's why she had so much phone sex. She'll say that's how her cherry pop. Oh, okay. Possibly. I mean, but Brandon is like super gullible. Would he believe
Yeah.
it? Probably. Yeah. Like
Yeah, Brandon doesn't believe anything that girl says.
Yep.
he's
So
in love. Yeah, he's in love. He literally flew across the world, sent her all this money. Like there's nothing. Everyone in his family told him not to go. Everyone was trying to help him, and he literally said to his mom, like, I will do what I want to do. This is the decision. I feel like kind of like in who were we just talking about before? Like no matter what, oh, Gino and Jasmine, like no matter what anybody tells you or any good advice, isn't that the Alanis Morissette song? Somebody give you really good advice, you just don't take it. That's exactly what's happening. Like people are telling you exactly what's gonna happen and they want to help you and you just don't care. Right? Yeah. Oh, Pineapple says that she does like them chubby.
That's not wrong.
You're not wrong because she was chubby and branded up. Okay, so now we have a whole theory here now. We have a whole theory here because that guy had a good motive to blow up that relationship right in there. And he's the one that started the whole conversation.
Yep.
Like he was like, we don't like you because you're controlling. Like he was the one who kind of started that whole interaction. So now there's a good motive for the whole thing.
Yep.
and if you were like really paying attention how he was looking at her.
Yeah.
Like I pay attention to stuff like that.
Yep.
Interesting.
But
Okay.
I told Cara the other day, me and her was talking about this. I told her, I was like, she has something going on with that dude in the purple shirt.
Yep.
So we might have already met the baby daddy, right? Like we could have allegedly met the baby daddy already on the show, and Brandon met him too. What a coincidence, right? Brandon met him too, right?
That was so easy.
It was easy. He literally walked up to him. Like usually you have to go on Maury and have a paternity test done.
Yep.
The guy walks right up to him and talks to him, right? Like he
Yep.
literally put himself in the situation. That might be why I can't believe anything that Mary says, because this is probably what's going on. I think we might have figured it out,
Yep.
right? I think we might have figured it out. Allegedly, we might have figured it out.
It's just because she's shy. It's fine.
Oh yeah, she
like,
was so
I'm
shy. Oh
I'm
yeah,
super shy. Being shy,
so shy.
a lying narcissist are not the same thing. Like they're
Yeah.
not the same thing at all.
Oh my goodness. Well,
So who wasn't on this week?
Wayne and Holly.
Wayne and Holly were
Yeah.
on this week.
what?
So we're gonna see.
We're supposed to get a new couple tonight.
I thought so too. I'm confused by it because I did see a trailer of them, the couple, and we haven't met them. Yup, Pineapple, you're right. We found it. We saw he packed Pringles and other snacks. And did everybody see the celery stick on Razvan's plate? Did you catch it?
Yeah.
I love these hidden gems in the shows. You gotta be really watching though. You gotta be really looking. But yeah, Tyree did pack the Pringles. We settled on the fact that at the airport, Pringles are $7. But if you're like in your hometown, they're like $2.50. So I'm assuming that's what was going on. And I don't know how long a flight is from Modesto to Denver. So maybe that was the snacks. I do bring snacks on the plane because when they come around.
In the suitcase.
Yeah. You're right. So they were underneath the plane. So I don't know why exactly he packed them because he couldn't eat them until he got off the plane.
He packed them with his underwear. So I'm so confused.
But did you see that we're getting off topic, but did you see that he was buying Carmela a gift? I think that he's under the impression that Carmela was talking to him. Did you get that? I hate to, we're on the wrong show. Like, I just want to say that because I didn't say it last night. He was buying her a gift because he's like, well, she's going to meet with me, so I don't want her, to think that I'm coming empty-handed. I was like, bro, you're meeting a stranger who you've never met, who you were not talking to, and it was just her. Like, what is he doing? Yeah. Like, Tyree, please.
And he wanted to buy her jewelry.
Yeah.
He wanted to buy her jewelry.
Like,
and his sister was like, heck no, you can get her a candle.
You don't know her. This is not the girl that you were talking to, and she don't want you. She's an escort. She's making all type of money already. You are not on her radar, right? Like, you are not on her. Save the money. Okay, so I don't want to get too caught up on that because that's another show. But I just wanted to bring up the if you guys are watching 90 Day Fiance UK, I'm watching that. I don't know if you guys are watching it. It's so good this season.
Okay.
My favorites are Jose and Louise. So if you guys aren't watching, please go watch it and then talk to me about it. So I have someone to talk to about it with, because it's so good. I wish that they would just put it on regular TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so Pineapple says that the Pringles container could be a decoy. I have seen that where people put money in that, so you don't have like the TSA workers going through your stuff and like taking your jewelry and your money. I have heard of that. Okay, we could be wrong on that. So it could be that's where he's keeping like his valuable stuff.
But that doesn't make any sense with the other 30 pounds of snacks he had.
No, it doesn't. You're right. We're trying to
Maybe he did his homework and they don't have his kind of snacks where he was going. I don't know.
I don't know. We don't know. We don't have all the answers. Okay, we don't have all the answers. We tried, but we don't know. Okay, so we're gonna come back next week. There's 3 shows next week. There's Before the 90 Days, The Other Way, and we're gonna start off with The Last Resort with Angela and Michael, Molly and Kelly, Kalani and Asuelu,
Jovi
and Yara.
and I'm missing somebody.
Big Ed and Liz.
Oh yeah, so just them. Forget that. I'm gonna fast forward through Big Ed and Liz.
Yeah,
I'm not really interested, but I am interested in seeing what's going on with the other ones, because I knew that Yara and Jovi were having all types of issues on their last season because she basically hated everything about her marriage for the last 2.5 years. So we're gonna watch that, and then I want to see what's up with Molly and Kelly, because there's all these lawsuits and all these charges. So I heard that they addressed some of that on the show, so it'll be nice to hear it, because we've been trying to get Molly to talk about it, but she wouldn't. She said it will be on the show. So we're going to see where that goes. All right, so make sure you join us for that. And thank you to my co-hosts, Cara and Didi, who join me every week. And thank you to all of you who listen to us ramble on about the show for hours, right? We appreciate that.
Yep.
And follow us all. I'm on GeorgeMossey.com. Anywhere you get your music or podcast, type in the George Mossey Show. And we're going to talk to all of you guys Sunday night or Before the 90 Days. Talk to y'all soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.